Check it out, guys. In this video, we're taking a look at the new Jumper T-14. This thing looks very similar to the controller that I use every day, the TBS Mambo. The main difference between these two radios is that this one has a 1-watt ELRS transmitter built in and is coming in at about half the price. Alright, so the T-14 is a Mambo or boxer-sized radio that has an internal 1-watt ELRS transmitter on board. I wish that I could compare this thing side by side with the Radio Master Boxer, but I don't have one to show. So instead, we're going to be looking at it side by side with a controller that I use every day, the TBS or Ethics Mambo. You can get the T-14 in 2.4 GHz or 915 MHz. Both will be a 1-watt ELRS module, and you can get it with standard Hall sensor gimbals or CNC Hall sensor gimbals like I have here. This is the 2.4 GHz version with the CNC gimbals. The CNC version comes in at $110, and without the CNC gimbals, it's $90. If you wanted to use a protocol other than ELRS with this radio, you do have a full-size JR bay on the back, so you can add whatever module you'd like back here. The main protocol that I use on my drones is Crossfire, so I'll probably just throw my Crossfire module on the back so that I can use this radio with all of my current drones. Since we're looking at the back of the controller, we have our JR bay that I just mentioned. We do have a fan, and this is for the internal 1-watt transmitter. Underneath that, we have our battery tray, which takes two 21700 lithium-ion batteries. I have some cheap 18650 lithium ions in here, so those will work too, but batteries aren't included, so you'll have to pick up these on your own. Nice little handle up top. This is actually one of the features that I really like on my Mambo. The Mambo has a big, it's almost like a kickstand, it's so big, but I like having this thing because when I'm getting all my equipment ready, I can kind of prop my controller up, and the one on the T-14 is a little smaller, so this is more of a handle than a kickstand. Also on the back of the radio, we have rubberized grips on each side. Looking at the top of the controller, we have our USB plug for charging and hooking up to a computer for use with a simulator. Next to that, we have a DFU button. Then next to that, we have a trainer port. These two grommets on the sides are antenna DIY ports, and in the very center, we have our foldable bidirectional antenna. We have two buttons on the very top that can actually be changed to a switch if you want. Personally, I like these button style switches. This is what the Mambo has, and it just makes for a little easier storage. You can swap these buttons out for switches. They gave me this bag. I'm pretty sure that this is included with the radio when you get it. But this side features a momentary button that would be used for a beeper, and then this side features a latching button that would be used for arming. Switches up top are pretty standard. These two in the middle are 3-position switches, while the ones on the outer ends are just 2-position switches. In the middle, next to the T-14 logo, we have 2 dials. For me personally, I use the dials on my Mambo to control the throttle limit, so I can turn this down halfway and I can have 50% throttle, or I can turn it up to 11 and have max throttle. Power button for the controller is right in the middle, and this is something that threw me off when I first bought the Mambo. Wouldn't you think that this would be the power button? Well, it's not, but I always wanted it to be. The power button on the Mambo is right here near the lanyard hook. On the T-14, that jumper logo right in the middle is the power button. Lanyard hook, 2 trim buttons on the sides. On the bottom of the controller, we have a 2.4-inch OLED screen, and this actually looks a little nicer than the screen on my Mambo, which is just a backlit LCD screen. Here, you can see these side by side. See how different those look? So the OLED screen, I think, looks a lot nicer. To navigate this menu, we have this big jog wheel on the side that helps you scroll and select. Then on this side, we have a system button, a page button, and a return button. Pretty straightforward controller. Let's power this on and we'll take a look at the ELRS Lua script, and you can see some of those settings. And then I'm gonna take this out on a project and I'll give you guys my thoughts on it. All right, so let's hop into the Lua script. Packet rate, all the normal stuff you'd see. Telemetry ratio, switch mode, model match, TX power, and we should have this up to 1 watt. I'm gonna keep this actually on 250. Dynamic power, fan threshold. Then we have all the normal settings. My radio came running ELRS 3.3.1. All right, let's take this thing out, and I'm going to film a drone tour using this, but I'm also gonna bring this to see how I like it, and I'm gonna switch between the two. Let's go. So I took the T-14 out and I used it on a real estate fly-through just to see how it felt. It feels very similar to the Mambo, but it really doesn't feel as solid. The Mambo is definitely heavier and the plastic feels thicker. So the T-14 feels a little bit cheaper when holding it next to the Mambo, but then again, this one's half the price. I think this one's coming in at like $190, whereas this one's about $100. But at the same time, these gimbals are really smooth. I love this OLED screen and just how similar this controller really is to the Mambo. I probably switch out these stick ends just because I'm not a pincher, I'm a thumber, and I like these ones. These ones are kind of flat. They're not shooting into my thumb. These ones are a little pointy. So for thumbers, you might want to switch those to something similar to this. I don't know, I prefer these. Then again, this is like my go-to controller and I'm kind of like used to this. So even though this isn't gonna take the place of my Mambo, this is probably gonna become my backup radio. I have been using the Radio Master Pocket, but actually this is a good time to show you guys this. So this is the Radio Master Pocket. I had a review come out on this a while ago. This thing has been awesome. I really like this radio, but there's no backlight. The backlight just like stopped working. It was flickering, but now it's just not turning on at all. See that? Probably can't, because the backlight doesn't work, but backlight is on. So yeah, the backlight on this one stopped working and it's been driving me nuts. This is actually the first time I've powered it on where it's not doing anything. The past few times I've powered it on, it's gone on, but it's like kind of been flickering. So I'm a little bummed that this radio did it, but now I can use this and it's more similar to my Mambo. So hell yeah. I guess they're kind of similar in weight, but like the plastic on the T-14 just feels more like hollow, whereas the Mambo is like that feels just solid. This one feels like there's like extra space inside or something. I don't know. Either way, this is probably gonna be taking the place of the Radio Master Pocket as my backup radio. For half the price of the Mambo, I think the T-14 is definitely worth considering. So if this video helped you out, make sure you subscribe to the channel, leave the video a like, and if you have any questions about the T-14, leave a comment down below.